Damn, it's good to be back. The wait is over. The arena roars once more, and the legends return to the field.
Oh my god, there's no way.
So huge!
The best are already sharpening their skills, and the rivalries are burning hotter than ever.
Oh my goodness, what was
Wow! Every play, every push, a chance to carve your name in history. Somebody stop this!
Oh, the blossom!
And she drops onto Makiri. It's a one clip to finish the kill. And that's two from Kowsers.
This is where stories are written, where every legend leaves their mark.
And the body block. Able to get two.
Oh, that's a fine grab. What a grab!
And then Bruce out. Gets three.
With history on the line, do you have what it takes to emerge victorious? Welcome to United Rogue Overwatch Season 9. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for your Season 9 United Rogue Overwatch playoffs. This time we're taking a dip into Emerald as we have the number 1 seed New England Valhalla taking on the number 4 seed Washington Rebellion. I am, of course, Ajax, aka Soup Can, and I'm joined by one of my good buddies, Sawyer. And Sawyer, this one, I think, is a little bit exciting for both of us because some of our friends from high school are playing on New England. Ironically enough.
Yeah, should be a good game. We'll try not to be biased. We're professionals here. We can do it.
Surely. But, looking at these two rosters, it's no surprise that these teams ended up in playoffs. New England has been very solid. I think when a lot of teams were going into draft, people were a little unsure in terms of players and who would go where. But when you see the team that was crafted in New England, right, you really only see one roster change throughout the season. They picked up Chris with a K about week 3. And you look at this roster, and it is scary, right? We see a lot of veteran presence from Doge, Chris, Zeke, and Nevro. And you pick up Sebastian, who's a rookie this season, who's been performing very well, along with Paranoid, who's been, getting subbed in here and there, who's a very solid support option for them when they want to change their roster around. But then you get to take a look at Washington. Soup, new tank. Gare Bear comes back and has a great season again. We get Deadly Kitten's first season. Guna, of course, comes back. And, of course, we get Big Green, who is Let's Go Dude here. But these are two teams that really are showing throughout the season why they got here, right? So it's no surprise with these two teams. New England is taking the map ban. I think because of the first seed, right? There's no coin flip. So I think them picking map ban is a big confidence pick, right? They're saying, we don't care what character you ban for our team. We're going to beat you. So we're going to pick a map that we like.
Yeah, wow. That's actually, you're right, a really interesting play. Like you said, a lot of confidence. I'm guessing they're planning to, to me, that sounds like they're going to plan to play around Washington's comp and kind of try to counter that. So we'll have to see what they go with once they load in.
We do have Li Zhang from New England. That is their pick of poison. And we get to see Wars banning the Genji. They don't want to deal with it. That is, if we're looking at it, usually a target ban onto Sebastian. The Genji this season has been very good. So they're opting to look towards Sebastian's DPS there. Honestly, I think Sebastian's been great. Potential role star even for DPS and Emerald this season right now. But my eyes are on Zeke. The dude played in Sapphire last season, right? Which had potential Masters players and Diamond players in it, which is a big step up to what this Emerald season is right now. And he made it to finals with San Diego, again, on a team with Doge. And Zeke, as a, low diamond, high plat player on that roster was carrying his weight. It's not like he was dead weight. So when you put a potential, player who can go against these high value Sapphire DPS and now put him in Emerald, I think you want to target ban him first instead.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, we can also see New England banning Lucio, it seems like.
The Lucio ban. That is a target on Big Green, big Lucio guy.
Interesting. So, I mean, that's two kind of dive-ish characters for the bans there. So maybe we can see both teams a little bit scared of that dive tactic. But very
It's
interesting.
very
bans
rare
there.
that we get to see Lucio's as well. I think Lucio's one of those characters, for United Rogue specifically, the higher you climb in ranks, the more you'll see it. Now, do we see a lot of Lucios in general? Hell no. There are very few. But in Emerald, it is a little bit more rare. Big Green being one of the only main Lucio players that come to my mind off the top of my head. Where if I look at the backline of Nevro and Doge, neither of them really play Lucio a lot. So maybe just cutting out the Lucio for speed here is, like you said, they don't really want to try to play that dive comp. They want to try to move over towards something else. Might just be trying to take away one of Washington's strengths here.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. We could totally still see some dive players, some dive picks here. But it looks like maybe not. Maybe a little bit.
We're gonna see a little bit of some classic comps here. A lot of people have been enjoying the Czar Vendetta, not only in UR but in your ranked games, I'm sure. Guna over on the signature Lifeweaver, as she is known for. Soup over to the Ramatra, and then of course Bear over onto the Junk. Seems like a lot of very common picks for these teams, but we have map 1 of our Emerald playoffs coming off to start. And we're going to see a lot of early poke here. Zeke took a lot of damage, going to have to get a bubble quickly. Washington so far using a good amount of space to help position themselves onto the point, but now Zeke gets to use wheels for free, start peppering in that damage. Meanwhile, I don't think he knows there's a Reaper in the back, but the team does. There's a bubble. Washington gonna get able to set up here on the point, except Sebastian in the back. Now that the Genji's gone, he can still get kills on the Vendetta. Is taken out. War is gonna find the point first, but will there be a quick flip from this New England team? It seems like they still want to try to contest this. Ooh, my boy Deadly Kitten getting very low there, and Doge on the Kiri now gonna be able to take them out with the kunai. But Guna is back, so you still have some of that support. Zeke dropping lower, and Soup able to find the pick. And here comes a tire all of a sudden, finding Sebastian. This should be the call if you're New England. Back up. You've been taking such a long fight. There has been no break in between them. And you're just feeding ult charge into the enemy team. And now Chris goes down. Back up if you are New England. They're still getting called out. War is pushing this aggression.
Deadly Kitten barely managing to get out there.
That was a fast tire on the side of Bear. They were able to build that up pretty quickly. And now just hiding. And oh, the assassination attempt from Bear. Oh, Sebastian was none the wiser. And this is really where you can see the composition just start to go ham. They want to be aggressive. They want to go in. Soup pops off the ult, and they are finding pick after pick. War is not letting go, and with 70% already, they still have Tree, Ray, and Blossom. Meanwhile, Sebastian and Zeke both swap over. Zeke able to build his ult pretty quickly on the comfortable role of Freya, but Sebastian has no ult. There needs to be a very calculated plot. We're going to see a bowl already, but Zeke goes down, and here comes the Ray. And the Blossom peppered in. Nevro's Coalescence goes down. New England has nothing left. There's just a rush with Doge and Chris. But against 5 members of Washington, that is not what you want to see. This should be 100-0 here.
Wow, that was a very, very quick round there. A lot of aggression coming from Washington. Like we said before, we didn't think they were gonna go for a lot of dive, and they didn't. However, they did play very, very aggressively, pushed up very far into spawn, still getting picks off on New England there.
And this is where, if you're New England, you have to wonder what went wrong. Was it a communication error? You know, was somebody saying, no, it's winnable when you're already down 2 members? Were you trying to, you know, cycle through, maybe try to find an opening? If you're New England, you got to bounce back. And if there's ever a point to do it, it's going to be Gardens here. Let's see. We do have some changes. Chris opting to mirror Soup over on the Ramatra. We do see now Gerber flying it up on the Pharah. The boop here could be crazy. Are we going to see it? Oh, Zeke unable to get it off in time. And already New England have to fight a 4v5 just on one ability alone. Here comes Deadly getting in the back. They are not ready for this DPS presence. Another great boot from Gerber to then push Nevro into the team. This is Washington firing on all cylinders.
We had another off-the-map kill there at the end.
Ooh. Zeke is going to find Deadly Kitten, who was getting a little bit aggro. Maybe the aggression was a little too much, but now we get to see they're down a DPS. They have a little bit of time. They're going to rotate over to White Room, hopefully not get picked off. The Pharah is going to be an issue with the range, and Kitten's coming back. Going to meet them over there soon, but for now, this is Chris popping form, trying to push in and get some control on this point. But there are some low members of New England right now. Suzu used. Still, Deadly Kitten's in the back and takes out Sebastian. Is going to get traded, though. And now we get to pop form. Soup takes out Nevro. The support's doing God's work to keep Soup alive. And now the support line for New England is gone. And here comes a barrage. Gets only one as Soup finds a third in that fight. And New England just not looking themselves so far this map. Maybe it's a warm-up map. Maybe just the Genji ban was too much.
Yeah, we can also see that New England swapped to, they've got McCree, Ashe, and Ana, 3 very good counters to the Pharah, yet we're not seeing too much impact on Gerber's performance right now. Still seems to be playing good. They can't really deal with it.
So far, it's a big positioning question. You get to see Gerber playing, positioning very safe. Chris is going to find one with the ult. Can he find another? He's still looking to. He's going to find another, and now Doge gets one as well. This should be the turn that New England was looking for off a great annihilation of Chris. But like you were saying, the Pharah, good positioning from them to be able to stay out of sight lines. I think Sebastian, for the first part, going into White Room, a very small, isolated room with just a straight, narrow tunnel, does nothing to help alleviate the pressure of Pharah. Here comes the Blossom. The Suzu is out, and the Anti. Deadly's going to go down, but here comes good coach gun to keep Soup away, but still there are trades on both sides. Soup getting the tree healing, not for long, and now Zeke gets to take out Gerber. It is Guna and her tree versus the world, but she will go down. And a Deadeye and Rush getting traded out for a tree and annihilation, along with the barrage, not bad. But Washington still trying to go in. Deadly hoping to get a flip, and they want to use a Ray here. They're going to take out Doge. Wait a second. Sebastian's going to find one and throw the bomb in, and Chris comes up to find Gerber. Maybe the Ray wasn't all it was chalked up to be. Nevro's going to go down. Soup popping 4, trying to run away. And this should be New England stabilizing at was looked to be a little scary there for a second when that Juno ult came out.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was a great play by Deadly there, trying to get on point, especially while Nevada was still a little bit staggered, but it just didn't pay off. I mean, that Bob by Sebastian really helped get them off point.
New England now holding good positioning, but here comes the TP in, forcing the Wraith. Chris popping the annihilation now. Sebastian's gonna be able to find the kill. Meanwhile, we get to see Chris pushed up just around the corner to keep them up from Mirage, and we have a Nano Kiriko. Doge has the Nano. Surely that was not intentional from Nevro. Curly, my guy. That is a wasted ult right there. You have nothing, but neither does Washington as they look to use form to push in. Doge goes down. Zeke goes down. Deadly finding 2 here, and this should be Nevro falling as well to the Reaper. Is he going to get a 3-piece? There is 3. You still have time. You still have a little bit of hope, but there is a Blossom. There's going to be a tree. 10 seconds left. Can New England keep themselves in this Lijiang Tower, or are Washington going to set the pace early? They want to be aggressive. They want to go first. Doge has Suzu, goes down, pops it. We're going to get in. The Blossom finds 2. Deadly coming up big for this war team as Chris goes down. And that is going to be a quick Lijiang. Map number 1 going to Washington.
What a game. I mean, what an almost comeback there by New England right at the end there. That final fight was very impactful, though. I mean, especially the stagger at the end. The tank and one of the supports were a little bit behind the DPS and the other supports getting back to point. Kind of forced the switch to Doom there just to try to make it on time.
Very close. It very much seems that New England right now on the back foot, which is not something I think I've said all season. They've looked very strong. They are the number 1 seed for a reason. And we saw the glimmers of hope from them, right? They were at 99-0. They brought it back on that Gardens map. Had some good plays, even when Washington was investing some of those scarier ults, like the Juno Ray. They understood, hey, listen, we can back out, kite it a little bit, still keep some pressure on, make some picks, and go from there. Maybe this is a warm-up map for them. Maybe they're just finding their stride. But New England, down a map. They need to make a choice. Where do they want to go?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Are we thinking, maybe some sort of push map, a hybrid map, like Kings Row? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Flashpoint, and it's not because they typed it in chat. It's not because they typed it in there. But I'm surely guessing Saravasa from my own dome. However, I think this does work in their favor. If you go back, again, something I want to talk about, Zeke and Doge. They were on a team last season in Sapphire, San Diego, made it to the finals, had a great season, number 1 seed. They were very good. And something that you could always count on from that team is when they went to Saravasa, they won the map. And we're seeing that trend again this season on New England with the addition of Nevro, Sebastian, and now Chris. They also still have Paranoid in the back if they want to sub him in. Saravasa is just a comfort map for them. It allows Zeke to just play the angles he wants to. It allows Sebastian to go in, do what he needs to. Nevro and Doge have that flexibility on the supports to really be able to play whatever style they want to look towards. I think Saravasa is a very good map choice for them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But we can also definitely see a lot of aggression from Washington. And that, I think, is what is putting New England on the back foot, is an unexpected aggression. And also, the Washington seems to be very grouped up and coordinated in their pushes towards the point, so maybe if New England can get a couple picks off before the fight starts, that is definitely going to be really impactful.
Not only that, let's talk about the bans again, right? Last map, we saw no Lucio, we saw no Genji. This map, we get to see, we get to see Sebastian back on the Genji. We get to see Big Green back on the Lucio, and they're target banning Guna. Guna, Lifeweaver 1 trick. She is one of the best. She's really good at it. Forcing her off of a comfort pick is kind of scary, right? You get one person back on their strength. Now the other support has to struggle. So New England really focusing in on trying to just take out one of those supports. I don't know how much I like it. Because Deadly Kitten hyping themselves up in the chat a little bit. I think he's got a point. Mentioning banning the Reaper. The Reaper being able to TP in the back did a lot of distraction. Do you think banning the Reaper or the Lifeweaver would have been more smart?
Honestly, I would have gone for the Reaper ban, especially because they seem to get, especially in the first round of the last map. Reaper got a lot of value out of it, and he was very good at getting in, dealing as much damage as he could, and then getting out right when he's about to die. Barely any health left. You know, it was a lot of good gameplay coming from Reaper there last map. So personally, I would have gone for the Reaper ban. What about you?
I think I probably it's the age-old question. We have a lot of people who tend to stick with one character, right? You can call him one tricks, you can call him whatever. Guna over season after season shows why she is one of the best life weavers in the game, right? We've seen it again and again and again. Taking her off of that comfort role does diminish some ability, right? We might have to see her on now another support that, while comfortable, you know, she can play a Briggs, she can play an Ana. It's not the same comfort. It's not the same playstyle, right? So now you have to worry a little bit more about your positioning, about your survivability, versus worrying about just the Reaper in general. If you take that out, Deadly Kitten still has some other characters he can play. So are you worried about something that could potentially be an issue in terms of a player just saying, hey, I can play other things than Lifeweaver? Or are you worried about somebody just having that upfront teleport, now I'm in your face, now you're dead kind of strategy? I think I would have banned the Reaper there, especially on a map like this where they want to play a little longer range with Zeke probably on the Freya. If you've got a Reaper teleporting up into your face the entire time, it's not going to be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also see Washington with the cast ban. Interesting. So maybe they might be trying to play that Pharah again, you know, trying to get rid of a little bit more range on New England's side. But we'll have to see what these players pick.
Once we saw Zeke swap over to the cast, I think you could see the Reaper get a little bit less value. Still got a ton, but you could see it did have an effect. So I think this is solely to try to help ensure, hey, listen, I want to play Reaper. I don't want to get just like shot every 2 seconds. So we're going to ban it. We're going to go from there. We do see the Genji back in. We see Guna on the Moira. And we see, surprisingly, a Juno and not a Lucio out of Big Green. But we see Junos on both sides. Let's see how these teams fare in map 2. Will we tie the series, or will Washington take us to match point? Both teams using the Juno ring just to get over to the point. And again, we get to see Chris versus Soup on the Ramatra duel. I thought both tanks did a very good job in the mirror. Gare Bear not on the Pharah, but over on to the Vendetta. That's, again, another great option for the cast ban. You don't have to worry about flashbang stopping a lot of your momentum abilities. But War already, again, doing such a good job of taking point control, and they've already flipped it. Now here comes the TP and the Reaper trying to find something. Chris having to back out, but maybe not able to get out alive. Chris going to be able to find Deadly, who thought he had a free TP in the back. We get to see New England start to have a little bit of pressure from themselves. Here comes the rest of this squad. Gabriel's going to find Doge, gets the overhead strike, and all the while, this point percentage is still ticking. Chris gonna have some support from Nevro, but we're gonna have to wait for the Genji to get out. This should be a slight backup. We get to see the Bola, and we get to see a coalescence. These teams are just starting to use their ults, and good for them because there's not much time left. Suzu used. We're going to see Zeke dropping lower and lower. Is the skill orb gonna find him? No. Instead, it's gonna be Big Green. Washington holding firmly to this point. The Annihilation, here it comes. There's a lot of low members on this Washington team, but the point still needs to get capped. Chris hoping that this Annihilation can help them with that. They're going to find one. They're going to find two. Doge is going to go down again, but Chris and Sebastian, again, each finding another. Sebastian with a 3-piece. And at the very end, they're able to hold it close.
Wow, another 99-0 flip.
Insane there. You have to use the Annihilation, which means Washington gets to come up with a little bit of an ult advantage, and you have to use the Bola, but you trade it out for the Coalescence. If you're War, all you got to do really here is push a little bit. Put pressure on just a little bit to get New England to spend some ults. We're going to see a Ray. There goes Sebastian. No blade available. We're going to see so many other people click the ult button. Gabriel's going to get a trade, but Soup hoping to stay alive. There's a rush and a Ray unable to keep up Chris. And now surely Zeke and Nevro, the dynamic duo, can do something here. Unfortunately, they can't. And that's going to be the first point going to Washington. Maybe Sebastian
not quite
wants a
yet.
hero blade. Doge, low HP, getting looked at here. Sebastian goes down. Doge also going to go down there. Yes, this is Washington taking the first point.
We can see Deadly pushing up a little bit, trying to keep pressure on New England here as they push onto the second point.
Zeke does get down. This Deadly hitting Reaper doing so much. Yes, you're going to get traded, but what you've done, you've gotten a pick and you've secured your team the better positioning. So you might have traded your life, but trade a DPS, put your team in a better position. I would take that any day of the week. And now Chris popping form early, dropping low, gonna have to get a lot of help here. Has the Suzu. Doge dropping lower and lower. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why Doge is sticking with this Juno. Not a character we see them play a lot. It's the first Deadly. 4. Oh, unable to get the ace, but Chris is gonna go down and Washington get point percentage.
Wow, what an insane fight. Not only did they start with a better positioning, that definitely helped them out a little bit, but they had that 4K by Deadly there with the Blossom, and then picking one off before he falls was definitely what secured them that point.
And now we get to see Zeke going back since Season 5, the Reaper. He wants the mirror. He's gonna try to find the same value that Deadly has been. Here we get to see the Annihilation. We're gonna see the Cole into it, and Sebastian goes down. Annihilation is gonna get Gare Bear though, so it's a DPS down for each team. But Coalescence is doing such a good job of keeping these members up. Deadly's still gonna find Nevro. Are they gonna be able to find Chris? Nope, not yet, but they are gonna find Zeke, and already 87%. Doge is going to go down as well. It is just Chris and Sebastian like many times before, but Sebastian takes out the support. Here he goes with the blade. It's just a blade and 3, but he finds another. Can he get one more? He unfortunately cannot as Gare Bear on the Vendetta takes him out. Zeke and Nevro still coming back, popping the Annihilation. Zeke has to pop Wraith to keep himself alive. It goes off, and there we see Soup getting them both with the help of Gare Bear. And already 2 points in the favor of Washington. New England struggling a lot against this roster. Nevro swapping over to a Baptiste. Chris swapping over to a Doom. And Sebastian swapping over to a Sojourn as we head over to Gardens for what could be our potential last map of Saravasa.
Yeah, wow, those are some interesting swaps there, especially with the Doom. Hopefully we can see a lot of value coming out of that, but maybe... Wow, a little coming out.
Hopefully we can see some value. Deadly Kitten gets the better of Zeke, unfortunately, and now he wants to go in the back and find some more. Doge on Juno again has the ult, goes down. Sebastian is going to find one, but you're still down members. Nevro goes down on BAP. And this is again Washington. They have started the point progress. They have started to burn the final wick of this map. And remember, these progress, they jump. We're already at 20%, and it's just been seconds. Nevro swapping over to the Ana. They need to find something here. They still have Ray. They need to get aggressive. They're trying to make a rotate. They're forcing some cooldowns out of Washington. But Nevro still goes down because Soup is in the back. Here we get to see the Ray. Is it going to be able to find anything? No, they're going to trade. Sebastian finds one before he goes down. Chris uses the Doom ult, not able to find anything. Having to hold block. Zeke gonna find one. Gonna needs a lot of help from Doge here. It's a 3v3, but Chris lower and lower. Zeke finds one. Is he gonna be able to help Chris find another? They should flip this point. Can they stagger Soup? That would be massive here. Chris wants to go in. Chris can't stagger himself, but he does. Chris goes down. And now New England, no tank. And soon Washington has all their members left. Sebastian dropping lower and lower, but Zeke finds a better Deadly. This is why he made the swap. He knows in his heart of hearts he's the better Reaper. And he's going to find Soup with the help of Nevro. This is New England starting to turn it up. Put people on their comfort roles. Put Zeke back over onto the Reaper, and you can see why he was such an integral part of Sapphire San Diego last season. This is why right now he's in MVP contention. The man pulls this out of nowhere and flips a switch. Are we going to see him get out alive is the question. No, Deadly Kitten said, this time it's me. And now we can see a Cole, but the punch, and it just annihilates it. There is no Blossom in Ba Sing Se, but Gabriel finds two. And the Coalescence. Nevro has the Nano. Oh, just a second off. And it is Chris holding on. Sebastian swapping over to Sombra. There are literal seconds before this map ends. New England need something here. They just need a touch to potentially keep this going. Zeke gets on for that final touch. Has to pop teleport and Wraith. He's all alone right now. Can he find a pick? He cannot, but now they're going to have to play into a Ray. Sebastian goes down. There goes Doge. It is just never left. Can he even make it to the point? Oh. Last second hopes dashed away. War going on to match point. Excuse me. But New England starting to show more signs of life. They're not out of it yet.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We saw two 99-0 flips there. Well, the third one was almost a 99-0 flip and really came back, honestly, at the end. Barely lost it at the end there, flipping back towards Washington. But another great map.
All right. I mean, I love Zeke with a passion. Great buddy of mine. You saw the Reaper come out, and he was doing really well. He was holding the team together. But Deadly was doing really well as also. If you are going to this third map, potentially your last of the season for New England, do you look to ban the Reaper or do you try to find something else?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Deadly did do really good on the Reaper, especially towards the beginning of that map, but we did kind of see towards the end Zeke and even Sebastian on the Sojourn putting in the work. You know, Chris with the Doom did a great job countering that Blossom. They seem to have kind of handled Deadly on the Reaper, but honestly, it still could be a good pick.
Now, so far, this is Washington up 2-0. Out of everybody who did the predictions, a majority, the most voted for was a New England sweep. And right now we are staring at the barrel of a Washington sweep. This could be big. This could be big. The 4 seed upsetting the 1st seed, it could be awesome. But New England not out of it yet. They still have a chance. I am getting word it happened one time in Emerald. I don't remember that well, but I will figure that out later. Okay, season on the line. I am going to put the mortgage that I definitely have. We ignore the fact that I lost it last time in the bet. I'm betting the mortgage. Kings Row.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that's a good pick. That's a comfort pick. You know, it'll play well with a lot of the comps that New England has been playing, you know, with Zeke, especially if Zeke decides to stay on the Reaper, whether or not Sebastian stays on the Sojourn. And, you know, I would love to see Chris on Doom more. He got a lot of value out of that on that last map.
We're going to go see Hollywood. Whoa, I now have to pay 3 mortgages.
You gotta stop betting your mortgages, man.
No, dude, I'm due. I'm due. I'm due, okay?
That is...
Surely that's a healthy thing to say. But, I mean, you get to see a lot of these players are in contention for Role Stars, MVPs. I said it earlier. Zeke is, in my opinion, one of the favorites for Emerald MVP right now. Doge has an argument for how flexible he's been throughout the season and how impactful he's been. We're going to see it. We're going to see Paranoid come in. This is kind of what I can expect. Paranoid plays a lot of Baptiste from what we saw, we're going to see Nevro and Zeke. They have been Rocket League buddies for a long time. They have a lot of good chemistry. We're going to see them both on the DPS. We're going to see Paranoid and Doge, who, like we said at the beginning, we know personally for 7+ years, they have a lot of chemistry together. They want to just try to build something that works. They're going to try to throw something. And I'm going to expect here probably a Kiri Bat, maybe even a Moira Bat. Put Doge onto something that can just help with a little bit more damage. But they're going to try and swap things up on Hollywood. On Hollywood, do we see a Reaper ban? Are we worried about the TP still?
I mean, we could be, but I mean, with a lot more high ground, a lot more long range sights here, we might see a little switch. We might see, you know, the McCree come back out. Who knows? We could see an Ana pick maybe for one of these supports, like we saw earlier.
I wonder. Zeke and Nevro. Zeke, for these two, I would argue is typically your longer range. He's got the Freya, he's got the Soj. We know he's got a good cast as well. He's been practicing some of the close range as well with the Vendetta and the Reaper. But Nevro, I think, is my junk man, right? He's a big junk fan. He also has a little bit of the Cassidy as well. We're going to see the Ramatra ban. They don't want to deal with it. Soup apparently too strong. But I think this just puts him on Sigma. Sigma, I believe, is his, like, best/favorite. I could look it up, but I'm not going to because I'm kind of lazy. And Ash is banned.
Oh,
so no Ash.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay.
I think that is interesting, especially because Sebastian is usually what I would argue is your Ash player, is riding bench.
Yeah, I kind of love the Ramatra ban, honestly. I think that was a great idea. Like you said, if Soup decides to play that Sigma, I mean, we saw Chris, the first map of this series, start out with the Zarya, you know, and if we could see that Zarya against the Sigma, that would give New England a huge advantage.
You get to walk all over that Sigma. That is true. Get some high charge, especially if you do want to put Zeke on something like the Vendetta or potentially the Vendetta again. But Washington is, because they won the last map, they get to opt whether they get attack or defense first, and they're opting for attacker's advantage. They want to end this as another 3-0. As a reminder, Havana versus Pitt in Ruby, 3-0. Sapphire, Detroit versus Chicago, 3-0. Will all of our games so far in our Season 9 playoffs be 3-0s, or will New England break the curse and at least get one map? We're going to find out here in a second.
I would also love to see, you know, maybe more group play, like grouping together coming from New England. It seems like they do tend to get split up, and not just split up, but also like staggered a lot. And that has not been helping them, because that means Washington is able to pick them off one by one and continue to stagger them as they kind of file in.
Washington made a couple roster swaps throughout the season with the addition of Deadly Kitten. They have been looking very strong. Had a very close game, a 3-2 win against Montreal to secure their spot in the playoffs. And now they're looking very dominant so far. But we get to just see the absolute nuke comp. We get to see Paranoid on the Juno this time. Doge over to the Ana, but we get to see Zeke over on the Pharah and Nevro on the Junkrat. Just explosion after explosion. And Chris is going to mirror the Sigma here.
Interesting. Okay, so we got a Sigma v Sigma. We've got a Pharah v Pharah. We've got Juno on both teams.
But the difference is going to be the Cass and Junk, and then, of course, Guna on her signature Lifeweaver. Map 3, Washington on the verge of a 3-0 sweep. Can New England start opening up the closet door for the broom? Instantly a direct hit. Zeke directs Gare Bear in the sky. Feeling very confident so far. Soup pushing in, no rock, already half HP. And Chris takes out Deadly. Already New England find a pick. Zeke wants to battle in the sky. It's a dogfight right now, but unfortunately not going to be able to find anything just yet. Washington has to back up a little bit, still play that poke game, try to find the damage where they can. damage still. No team really making any crazy flanks, any adjustments. We're gonna see Nevro try to take out the Cassie, dropping lower and lower. Soup at the rock gets blocked. And Nevro with the trap is gonna be able to find Deadly Kitten, but is gonna get taken out by Soup. It is a DPS trade. It is just your Faros on both sides. Big rock from Chris to keep Soup out of the fight. But Washington still want to press up. They want to still hold their aggression like they have been all game. There goes Hands. Here comes the micro missiles for Paranoid, and he gets one. And now the legs are out from Deadly Kitten. The legs have taken out Zeke, but they're going to trade for Soup. And again, the aggression from Washington now means that they're unable to back up. They want to keep playing. They're going to try to just reset, settle themselves, come back. But a minute and a half is already gone from this clock. Ults are coming online as well. Guna has built the tree. We're going to see a barrage. We're going to see a nano. We're going to see a tire. We're going to see a flux. Paranoid just a little bit slower than Big Green on the Ray. Rock again comes out. Soup gets to be in it. A big flux from Chris. And with the assistance, they're going to take out Gare Bear. Nice anti from Doge to help with Deadly Kitten. No kills yet. Rock misses. Soup still has the hands. But again, Washington just backing up. Soup dropping lower, and Zeke finds a kill. Deadly Kitten is going to take out Paranoid, but gets traded out. And New England starting to step up their game a little bit. They're the ones in the driver's seat right now. And they only had to use a flux there. Soup going to swap over to the Hazard.
Interesting pick with the Hazard there. But yeah, this is going to be a huge disparity in ult charges coming into this next fight.
4-3 here in a second. Never takes out Guna, so the tree is not there. And Zeke just again peppering in rockets from above. Gare Bear lower and lower. Are they going to be able to get any care? Maybe in a second. Here comes the rock. Not able to find anything from Chris. Zeke playing these angles really well. Gare Bear is in. No more boosters left. Are they going to be able to find him? Here comes the barrage. There's a double barrage, but Washington are able to find the better of it. And now here comes a tree. Anti is going to be able to go on to Guna. No sleep out from Doge. Doge is going to go down, and Washington starting to have a little bit of a comeback here. I don't know if there's going to be any touches. Never is going to find Deadly, but will there be anybody able to touch? I don't think so. This should be point A going in favor of Washington. 3 minutes now on the clock to get to point B.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Washington did get the point there, but New England did a great job at holding back for a long time. There was only about 30 seconds left at the end when they capped that point.
Ooh, Zeke dropping lower and lower. And again, we still have 3 ults, now 4 for New England. I think this has been New England's just fault the entire game. They're going to find one again, but the grip keeps Gare Bear out of the flux. They need to use these ults a bit aggressively. Chris trying. But now Deadly Kitten trying to go on the flank, and here comes another Ray. Gonna get mirrored. It's a Ray v Ray, but Chris taking so much damage. Here comes a tire after Nevro already finds one. He's going to find Soup. Nevro coming up, finding 2 for this fight. That is 3 ults, though, from New England. They're gonna find Big Green, and this should be Washington's signal to just stabilize and regroup. If you're New England, you only have Nano right now, but before the fight even starts, Nevro finds a pick, and Zeke finds another. New England starting to be comfortable again. They had a little bit of slip up there, but Hollywood's starting to look like their map. If you're Doge, who are you sending the Nano to? Nevro just finding Gare Bear, by the way, in the sky. Where is that Nano going to?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty interesting. I mean, honestly, with Chris on the front lines here, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Maybe Zeke with his ult. We could see that
goes
well.
Down. Here comes the Nano. It is on a Chris. You called it. But Zeke with the barrage. He's gonna find 2. He gets taken out by Gare Bear, who has swapped to the cast. But the damage is done. Chris finds Soup, and now 5 seconds left. The only thing they'll have is a tree. By the way, Visor was used that fight. I think got instantly picked off. You have another Flux coming out from Chris. Ooh, and Soup wants to go back on the Sigma mirror. Rock unable to confirm the kill. We get to see a Wu Yang now, but Nevro on this Junkrat has been doing so well. 11 kills, 2 deaths so far. There's only 10 seconds left. A big Flux tire combo could seal the deal. There's still a tree for this Washington team. Here comes the Flux. It gets Soup. The Rock goes wide, and it finds Soup. Soup is down. The tanks are both out for both teams. Paranoid dropping lower and lower. Deadly Kitten coming up with 2. Nevro still has the tire as overtime starts to go. Can Zeke find the kill? He can. But Gare Bear's going to trade. There's not going to be a tire for this. And now with double hit scan, Zeke does not get to live for much longer. There's going to be a Deadeye here as well. Zeke close to the barrage. Do you want to try to keep it, or do you want to swap over to something that doesn't get countered by these hit scans? Deadeye on the high ground could be dangerous. Paranoid goes out. They aren't dealing with the DPS on the high ground, and now Chris dropping lower and lower. But they step off the point. Super Deadly just goes the C9. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, they were looking so good.
They were. They had the high ground. They were picking them off. That was fatal.
Andrew says it's the worst C9 in UR history. I don't know about that. We've had some crazy ones, but that might be up there. Whew. Ooh. That is unfortunate. Just when you think that you have a chance on this map, just when you think that you're building momentum, it gets taken, swept out from under you. New England had so much dominance so far this map. And now with that C9, I think they might be feeling themselves. They might be saying, hey guys, this is our map to lose now. Only change so far in spawn is going to be Chris over to the Diva and Deadly over onto the Bastion. Meanwhile, Big Green wants an Ana.
Interesting. Yeah, you know, honestly, I love that Zeke and Nevro are sticking with the junk and the Pharah. At these choke points, just throwing bombs to the other side can be super impactful, get a lot of damage.
Well, now we get to see Gare Bear. Gare Bear, last season, their first season showing up on LVT. They did a great job as junk specifically. We're going to see all they've got to do is get roughly halfway through point B in order to keep themselves in the series. Will New England get this map? We're going to see. Ante goes out from Big Green, not able to find anything quite yet. But, Gare Bear hiding, lying in wait. Will the assassination be there? Hands forced early. Rock goes out. The Bastion is spotted. Big Ante from Doge and the Rock and the grip to keep Deadly alive. Meanwhile, Gare Bear still lying in wait now, has the opportunity to go for the assassination, not able to find anything just yet. Sleep is out, unable to do anything. Chris dropping lower and lower, and with the Bastion in form, is going to take out Chris, who was on the Diva to start, but swapped over to the Sig. Deadly gets it back out, and the grip gets used. I think New England this time understand, hey, as soon as we lose somebody, if it's not winnable, back up. They know there's a lot of damage coming out from this Washington squad, who are doing a great job of building their ultimates. Deadly almost at theirs. Guna and Big Green not too far from theirs as well. Who will get the first kill in this fight? They're still battling for this choke. Rock on the Soup. Here comes the tactical nuke. It is inbound. All looking for Doge, unable to secure the kill. But there's some low members on this team, and now with no shield, the Bastion gets to run wild on the high ground. And Soup barely finding Doge on those Sigma Hyper Spheres. Oh, Rock hit Zeke on the way out. I didn't even think that hit him. But Rock out means free flux. It finds 2. Can they find anything? No, they can't, because the Nano Bastion comes out, finds Chris. Washington doing a great job holding strong, but Nevro gonna find 1. You're down to support. You still have your tree. And now, even though Flux is gone, you've had to use several key ultimates. Zeke is going to go down to Big Green. And now only 2 minutes left. New
Yeah, we
England's
saw a
going to
lot
have
of
to just play a little slow.
surprisingly a lot of ults use that fight. I think the tree was maybe a little bit unnecessary, and now we can see New England coming in with pretty much 4 ults to this fight.
If you're New England, you have to play aggressively, and that's what they wanted to do. They take out the tire. But Soup is going to go down, and now the nano is over to Chris. Here comes Gare Bear's tire. He already took out Nevro. Can he find anything else? He's looking for Chris. Dropped him lower and lower with no support in sight. He's going to get taken out by the Bastion. Guna is asleep, but Paranoid goes down. You use Nano, you use Tire, you still have a Ray. Here comes a tactical nuke from Deadly, looking to just stagger off some of these kills. Unable to find anything. Doge fighting for his life, but the Bastion is too strong. A minute left. You need to regroup if you're New England. This is potentially your last chance. There are no ults other than a Sigma Flux. You have Ray, you have Barrage. You need to find something here, and that is something. Zeke finds one. A Barrage from a mile away. Not able to find anything, but just gets some damage. Here comes the Flux, but he's dropping lower and lower. Sloop. Zeke takes out the Ana, but goes down for it. There are so many low members and no supports able to keep them up. Paranoid goes down. This Bastion is deadly. They're fighting one. Is this the end of New England? 20 seconds left. They need to get a touch. They've expended all of their ultimates. It's up to Chris to build it. The potential last sighting of New England. The #1 seed. Will there be an upset here in Emerald? Chris goes down. Paranoid out for the touch. Zeke is there, but Zeke goes down. Paranoid goes down. Washington, the 4 seed, come up big, and they will go on to the Season 9 Emerald Finals in a 3-0 sweep. What a series. What a comeback on Hollywood specifically.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all they had to do was hold them there at that first point, and they did just that.
And we get to see again, the Bastion comes out. Gare Bear doing so much here, finding 3. Here's the 4. A 4-piece for the Bastion, and unfortunately, New England, what a strong season. Not able to get the job done. Washington get to move on to the finals. What a series. They will be facing either Phoenix or Chicago. The winner of that will be determined on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, by the way. What a series.
What a series. Wow, yeah. What a game. What a performance from Washington.
Yeah, I mean, coming in, I mentioned it earlier, they have had such a good bounce back. The 4 seed only going, I believe, 2 for 5 in the standings. Sorry, 3 and 4. That's, the last one pushed them up. But 3 and 4, not a bad record. Able to get themselves up, and now a big upset over the #1 seed of New England. They C9, their mentals could have been boom, but they stood solid. They didn't let it get to them, and now because of it, they get to push up. What a performance. And New England, a great series, a team that I think a lot of people looked at and said they could go all the way, just short. Another 3-0, by the way, for our playoffs.
Another 3-0, but in the opposite direction of what was expected.
Wow. Well, that will be it for us here. Like I said, if you want to see the Emerald play semis match between Phoenix and Chicago, come back Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern for the next game. I believe that's the only one that's been scheduled. We still are keeping an eye out for our other Sapphire game, being New England Sapphire taking on Vancouver Sapphire. The winner of that will have to play the #1 seed in Louisville in Then we also still have the Ruby semis for Detroit and Vancouver. The winner of that will go face Havana in the finals. Very exciting games left. But any final words, Sawyer?
Not much other than great performance by Washington there. You know, loved to see that kind of underdog story as always, but what a great series.
Now remember, if you haven't already, go put in your votes for the Season 9 All-Stars. Some of these players, very deserving of it. We saw some on New England. We saw some on War. But I think after this game, you know, if you haven't made votes, you might want to be changing how you're thinking. But that'll be it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Again, stay tuned for some more matches this week before we have next week's Ruby and Emerald finals, as well as Sapphire's semifinals. Thank you, everybody. I, again, have been Ajax Soupcan. This has been Sawyer, my awesome buddy, Andrew behind the camera. Have a good night.